Motoko. Hiromi called out as she entered Lizzie's. Sure, she looked a bit awkward about it, staring a bit too long at some of the Mox bouncers, but I waved her over and her nervousness faded as she got closer. I guess it might be a little awkward for a girl like Hiromi who usually was covered in TC stuff to walk into the Mox home. But honestly, I wanted to get away from using the Hot Club as our meetup place. That stupid mask I now had hidden away in my room was taunting me with the fact that Fujimura was eager to recruit me fully. I didn't want to deal with that. You're late, Ichi pointed out as he sipped on his drink. Malcolm and Ichi had actually been here early. A little too early if my estimation was right, but boys will be boys. PFFT. I was busy reaching out to some contacts about potential buyers, Hiromi said, eyebrows twitching in an insinuation about their future payday. All is forgiven, Ichi offered with a phobo, and Hiromi cackled as she slipped into the seat next to me. We were at the bar for now, but I would drag my chums into one of the private booths before we got to talking too much. Hiromi ordered a drink, Ichi and Malcolm both happy to drink a bit on my tab. Because I am a generous leader. So you found something? Malcolm prompted, looking eager. This wasn't his first attempt to pry information out, but I had told him to wait for Hiromi. Not here. Get your drinks, and let's go grab a bit of privacy. Thanks, Mateo, I said to the bartender, dropping a tip as I dragged my eager chums out of the main room. In the end we took over one of the booth rooms, as I settled my chums around, and then I called all of them just like last time. Instantly I sent all of them the information I had gathered about the new scav den. The office building looked run down from the outside, and closed off. That image moved inside, giving a bit gruesome scenes of the interiors. Disgusting, Hiromi muttered into the group call. But it looks like they have a lot of product, she said, looking at the boxes of chrome the scavs were collecting. How did you even find this place? Ichi asked, and I threw him a peace sign. I backtraced missing people's reports and slipped into security systems all along the streets. Everyone has security cameras after all, and a lot of them are pointing at the street. So with a bit of finagling and a lot of illegal hacking I was able to track people. Holy shit. That must have been pretty hard. I'm surprised more people don't do that. I shrugged. It's dangerous. One bad server that has some nasty ice, and I could be in a lot of trouble. Motoko. If you are going to do something so dangerous, then call on us to help. We can at least get you to your Ripper if something goes wrong. Hiromi demanded, glaring, and I nodded, hands raised at her anger. Yeah, probably smart. Good. Should be a good payday. Any issue with the numbers, Motoko? Ichi asked. Need us to come in guns blazing this time? He said while motioning with his hand as if shooting a gun. No. I've already taken over their system. When I hit them, all of the scavs are going to lose their ability to see simultaneously. I chirped, grinning at the idea of what I was going to do to these monsters. Nice. Malcolm, you grabbed all of their camera data here, right? Malcolm asked, still forced to send his question as a text as he didn't have an interior agent. Gonna have to remind him he could get that upgrade now. Yeah, their security was good, but not that good. They had it all saved to a laptop. I actually think it might have been something one of them did as a mistake. The security for the network was set up by a netrunner, but this is the kind of amateur mistake I expect from someone who has no idea what they are doing. Malcolm, then, can't we use your little backtrace trick to find more scav dens? I blinked at Malcolm's text. That was possible. While I had tracked the van back to this place, they still had to transport their gear to another site to sell. Could I figure out where? Could I track their shipments to find even more? I could follow cameras like I had before. Well, maybe not alone. But I wasn't alone. Okay, chums. Malcolm had a great idea. I might be able to track the scavs, but I'll need your help. Rather than hit just one scav den, I want to find where all of the chrome gets sent, I said, and suddenly all three of my chums sat up straight. We had made bank on the small scav dens. But if there was a central repository? If there was even just a storage space for where all the chrome went? We could make a lot of eddies. Like a lot of eddies. Okay, Malcolm, you have a good eye for that sort of stuff. Start going through the camera, see if you can spot something we can use. I point out and the boy actually flushes and looks pleased at my words. Hiromi. If we hit a place that has even more equipment, we might need more transport. Think you can use your connections to find us people willing to transport stuff for us? I have a few ideas already. She confirmed with a nod. Ichi, if we are moving that much stuff, we are going to need a place to store it. Maybe even a gang to help protect it. I had to admit with a scowl. I have some TC contacts if this actually works that I can pull on, but maybe find us some low-key storage we can move stuff to. I know of a few places I can use. Leave it to me. Alright, in that case. I guess I need to get back on the net. Actually, all of us should get moving. I can pull more info and send it to you guys to check over as I'm running. Oh. Malcolm said aloud before stopping, hesitating. Should I call Omaeda? I blinked. Omaeda was. Oh. He was the netrunner that Ichi and Malcolm had been friends with. I haven't seen him in a while, now that you mention it. Omaeda bailed on us during the war. He basically went home and hid. We haven't talked since. Ichi offered with a grumpy face. It wasn't like that, Ichi. You know that. Omaeda wasn't as into the TC as you. He didn't want to get shot in a gang war. He bailed on us when we needed him. We don't need him, Ichi said, ending the conversation for a moment as Hiromi and I both kind of just looked at each other awkwardly. Let's go without him for now? I prompted and Malcolm hesitated and just shrugged a bit. All right. We should head to your place? Yeah, it sounds like tonight is going to be busy for all of us. I say and Hiromi groans a bit. Hey, Corpo Brat. Ichi and Malcolm both looked excited. An hour later I was back in the net. My tooms were set up on laptops connecting to the server so I could pass them data in real time, and I rushed back to the ScavDen server. With the work I had done before, I was able to just slip right back inside, and this time I was accessing their data looking for something in particular. Malcolm, see anything on the cameras yet? I called out. The phone connection with my group was active despite being in the net. They had a bunch of the chrome crates disappear about a month ago, but I'm narrowing down when it happened. I nodded to myself as I accessed the camera system myself. I could access the system in a way that Malcolm couldn't since I was in the net. Multiple screens popped up, and I set each of them to be a different day the camera had recorded and just waited for the crates to disappear. The 10th. I sent to him, as I noticed some of the scav guys load up a bunch of the crates on hand trucks and move them out. There wasn't really a good exterior camera, so I was forced to move outward, checking both ends of the street for active cameras. Nothing. The cameras just weren't good in the area. I had only been able to narrow down the scavs to this street to begin with. So I went wider, slipping into more and more camera systems in a big circle. The actual searching I left to my tooms. I was giving them access, pulling the camera data and then moving on, and then finally we got a hit. Found it. Going down Pondsmith. Ichi said, and I pulled out of the cafe I had been pulling a video from. I jumped across the net, I checked the image Ichi had found of the white scav van, and then I jumped to the systems down the street, finding one that had a street cam. I accessed its records confirming the van's path. Alright everyone, I'm gonna start sending the video data. Find me this truck's path. I called out, switching back to hitting every camera just a bit further down the street I could find and pulling their video records. Some didn't keep records, some didn't have cameras with the right angle. In the end I just kept digging, letting my tooms find the van's path, from the data I pulled. Sometimes making me pull back when the van turned suddenly. Sometimes I was forced to spread out my net wide, when we lost track of it, going down every street connected to the road we lost the van on just to see if we can catch sight of it on the cameras. I was really happy I had my tooms helping out. This could have been something taking me days to slowly path out the van's movements without the external help. While a part of me couldn't help but wonder why the NCPD didn't do something similar, it was the reminder in my head that breaking into every business and personal camera I could on the path would be something the NCPD would need a warrant for. Plus a netrunner to do this for every crime. I shook it off. I wasn't here to judge NCPD's lack of investigation talent. I was here to track these scavs through the city, to find them. In the end we did truly lose them. Anything? I asked my team only to get groans back. It was late. We had been tracking this truck through the city for hours. Everyone was getting close to being overworked. I don't know where the truck went, Motoko. This is so fucking stupid. Goddamned corpus. No wonder scavs get away with this shit. The corpus security practically protects them. Malcolm cursed, getting frustrated at the entire situation. Alright, I'm pulling out. I think we all need a break. I call into the chat, and slowly pull myself back to my body. I blinked back in my flesh. I sat up slowly, seeing my tombs all sitting around the basement in different levels of disarray. I looked at the clock and winced at how late it was. Sorry guys. I shouldn't have kept pushing you all so late. Let's get some rest, we can continue tomorrow. I offered, and Malcolm and Hiromi both groaned but seemed willing to stop. Ichi's fist slammed onto the table, startling us all. No. Motoko, you've been net diving for like 6 hours. You must be exhausted. Take a break. Grab some food, whatever you need. But I'm not. You brought us in, it's our turn to prove we aren't just hanging on to your rep. I'm not giving up. Not yet, he said, and Hiromi instantly plopped back into her chair and focused on the laptop. Malcolm let out a chuckle and shook his head. Yeah, fair enough. Not like we haven't done late nights before. I could use some chow though. I'll go get some food. I told them, cutting Malcolm off. I owe you guys for being so great, I said, and before they could say anything I was there, rushing in. Malcolm got first hug since he was closest. I lifted him up and spun him around a bit before dropping him onto his wobbly feet and rushed at Hiromi, who squeaked as I lifted her out of her chair. Ichi tried to defend himself, but his street brawling was weak. Something to work on in the future. My grapple hugs completed, I hummed happily as I headed to the elevator. There was a diner down the street. I bet I could get a couple of to-go meals there. Bags full of steaming hot meals. I walked back to the apartment. The diner was close enough. I decided to just walk. It would take longer to have to park the car. While I did, I considered the problem. The scavs obviously had to have a way to get the chrome out of the city. That was the rumor, or at least my understanding. The scavs stole chrome from the city and sold it off, usually in Russia. Okay, so assuming that is right, they had to ship it. It's why I was so confused. Why would they drive into city center? There were no docks big enough for a Trans-Pacific cargo ship there. You would want to go north side for that. But they had come from the north side, traveling into city center. So why? Why would you head into city center? The truck they used was pretty big. More than enough for the many crates they loaded up. The same style of crates we had found in the original scav den. The only one that hadn't had the same style was Charles' shop, but his was obviously a weird scav situation, since he was reselling the chrome he found. So they brought in tens of crates. How do they get them out? Did they load them into a navy for transport out of the city? But why city center? There were better places to load a navy closer. So a ship? But why? The only docks in city center were like high-end yacht club stuff. The sort of place that has insane security, that a bunch of scavs wouldn't be able to slip in. Did they gather it up and transport it out in bigger trucks? I suppose the scavs could have a corpo working with them, giving them a place to store huge amounts of their loot. In the end, I just wasn't sure where to go next. Luckily, I could still be snack provider. As I walked into the basement room, it was quiet. My chums were all still staring at the screens, and I decided it was time for a break. Food time. I called out, holding up the bags of to-go diner meals in the air. Yeah, I could eat. Food. Malcolm and Ichi both spoke as one, and pulled away from the system. I settled the food on a table that Morgan had probably set up for just that purpose and parceled out the meals. It's so frustrating. How can they just disappear like that? I just want to know where they went. Hiromi whined as she plopped into the chair. Well, they didn't disappear, Malcolm said after a moment as he finished swallowing a bite of the pasta that I was absolutely sure wasn't what the diner called it, but hey, it was warm and filling. We lost them though. Yeah, the fuckers drove down Corporation Street, and we can't find a camera to hit them with after. Ichi offered, chowing down. Yeah, but we know where they end up, Malcolm said, suddenly sitting up straight as he put the food down. No, we don't. We lost track of them. I reminded him, but his eyes weren't focused on me, He was a million miles away. Malcolm? They return to the scav den, he said in a mumble. When they are done, they return to the scav den. Yeah? So they don't disappear. We know where they are. Motoko, instead of trying to track their path to where they are going, try to track them on their way back. I considered it. They likely would take the same path back, but what if they didn't? Either way it was more data. Malcolm. Good job, I said, throwing him a thumbs up, but as my chums all stood to rush back to their stations I reached out and started pushing people back into chairs. Hold it, I demanded, startling everyone. Food first. Breaking a scav ring comes after. Once everyone ate and had a break we jumped back in. I was back on the net. This time following the van backwards along its path with my team helping out. And then to our delight, the van was on a different road back. It's on Longshore. It just came off the ring road. Malcolm called out through the call. The van hadn't gone into City Central using the freeways through North Carolina. It had been mostly on the street level, using Congress Street to go around Corpo Plaza to reach Corporation. But if they were using the ring road to come back, it meant Corporation Saint was close to where our scavs made their drop-off. I'm checking what I can find around Corporation. If they are on the ring road, I can't find any good cameras in that area, everything is high-end. I'm stretching out and looking for smaller shops. I called out to my chums as I blurred through cyberspace, trying to find something with eyes. Motoko. Check for 25/7s. They tend to be all over the place down there, since the corpus use them to buy cigarettes or a beer while working. Hiromi cut in, and I blinked. What the fuck was a 25/7? It took me a few seconds to find out. They were capsule shops. They could be put just about anywhere, and were basically gas stations without the gas. Interesting. I did a quick net search for them, finding a few of the capsules all over the area. The trouble came instantly as I slipped onto their server net. All of the recordings for all the shops went to a main server. It was a chain shop after all. But the place was crazy secure. I had to duck back out instantly just to avoid the security demons they had liberally placed throughout. Slow, Motoko. Take it slow. I reminded myself. Then I began breaching, slipping my demons into their system in return, blinding their security as I wormed my way in. It helped that I wasn't trying to access their most secure data. Their payment and shipping information was heavily secured. The digital access point looked like a hallway full of lasers and things heading towards a vault. But the camera data wasn't something they could store that securely. There would be just too much information coming in. It would make a weakness in the security. So it was far easier to access for that reason. Or they just didn't care to protect it. So I managed to slip into that section of the server without trouble, bypassing the security demons. I was just starting to access the cameras, looking for the shops on Corporation ST when I felt it. Someone knew I was here. Danger sense. I turned, throwing up my ice shield, which saved me. A demon shaped like a devil was rushing me, its open mouth full of chainsaw teeth that spun and buzzed. Honestly, it looked more like a blender than a mouth. But even as the demon hit my shield and slowed down, frosting over it was the netrunner behind it that I was focused on. Sorry kid. Nothing personal, he said as his hand shifted. Barrier spun around me. The neon shields bursting to life, filling space with a flood of junk data, that when the ray of neon green light shot out, I was able to actually dodge as the incredibly fast hack stalled on the barriers before managing to work their way through. Hellflame burst around me, slamming into the demon, causing the demon stuck in my eyes to begin to dissolve, removing it as a threat. Hey, can't we talk about this? Not looking to cause trouble here. I called out even as I continued to prepare more defenses, and looking for an escape route. Breaking into my server? That is trouble, he said, and I had to sacrifice another of my barriers to keep the ray of light from striking me. Not here to damage your biz. I called out, sending a wave of hellfire at the runner who stopped attacking to throw up a solid wall of ice to fizzle it out. Yeah, this guy knew what he was doing, and he was in his own server. I was gonna have to Delta. Unfortunately, he wasn't going to let me. Even as I started making my way to move out of the server lobby, the security demon dogs were gathering at the exits. blocking my way. Fucker. Yeah, what exactly would a kid netrunner be doing sneaking in here? Or did you just trip and your access connector happened to slide into the server port? I actually snorted, out a laugh at the joke. Not exactly. How about we have a fuck? I yelped as I dodged another ray. I was running low on barriers. Throwing up another set was only a stopgap measure. How about we have a minute where we talk? No need to go killing each other here. I don't know from my angle. I seem to be on the winning side of this. He called out mocking, but keeping him talking was keeping him from blasting me. Fine, I would just flip it around. A new set of barriers surrounded him now, leaving me without my best defense, but the demon was dead, so I spruced up, creating a barrier between us. Oh, fuck off. He grumbled and started bashing the spam barriers with his laser. I took a moment to get a scan of it and had to whistle. That was a nasty virus. Like my fire, it would try to delete anything it touched. How about we just talk, yeah? I called out, and while it didn't make him stop blasting the barriers, it did cause him to respond again. Yeah? Why should I? Some thief coming into my server? It's my job to clean up the trash, he yelled, blasting a few more of the barriers down. Okay, first? Ouch. Second. I'm not here to steal anything. I just need your camera records to see if I can track down a scav group. I waited, peeking my head out from around my ice barrier. I was counting on the fact everyone hated scavs to give me a few seconds here. My trash barriers were all gone, but he wasn't attacking me anymore. I'm supposed to believe you are hunting scavs? Well, yeah. Look at where I am. I'm accessing your camera records, I said, waving at the data I had been poking at. Worker profiles and other things are in that database too. How do I know you aren't up to something? 'Cause I'm trying to talk to you and not just trashing your server as I make my escape. You got 1 minute, convince me, he said, arms crossed over his chest. The netrunner's face was mostly blocked by a set of net goggles, but at least he wasn't shooting lasers at me. Or sicking his demon dogs on me. Okay, so I've been following a group of scavs from their hideout through the city. I knew where they started, but I need to find out where they came from. I lose them in City Central on Corporation. Near Berkeley. I know they get on the ring road, but I can't tell from where. The netrunner was quiet for a minute before nodding slowly. The security in center is better, so you can't. Have you been hacking into every camera you can get your hands on? He asked, sounding almost bewildered. Well, yeah. How are you not dead? Black ice should have fried you by now. I mean, I'm pretty good at breaching systems, and if the system is too dangerous I just skip it. No wonder I didn't notice your intrusion, he mumbled more to himself than me, but he raised and then lowered his hands, and suddenly the demon dog seemed to relax, going back to searching for intruders and not trying to eat me. Fine. I'll walk you through the recordings if you don't steal any records, and leave when you get what you want. Deal. I called out with a sigh, slowly letting my ice down, and cleaning up the mess on the server with a bit of manual maintenance. Let's get this over with, kid, he said with a grumbly sigh. And we did. He walked over, and once I told him the day and time, he was able to pull up the cameras on the little shopping pods and we started looking. There. I pointed out when I saw it. It was still going westbound on Corporation. Past Berkeley. What the hell? There wasn't even much out there. Just a wave breaker road. Wait, that's the truck you are looking for? I thought you said you were searching for scavs? The netrunner said, looking to me with suspicion. Yeah, I am. Those guys are with a scav group up in Westbrook. I've tracked them all the way here from their hideout. If that's the case, why are they dressed up as Gold Beach Marina dock workers? He asked, and I looked back at the camera. The passenger. He had changed his clothes at some point, throwing over a blue and white jumpsuit, while the driver had on a yellow hazard vest. Gold Beach Marina? I wondered aloud. The name not meaning anything to me. Yeah, the jumpsuit the passenger is wearing, that's their janitor staff uniform. We get them stopping in to buy smokes while they work all the time. Seen them a million times. On the camera when I need to look for thieves. Gold Beach Marina. Thanks, Choom. I told him, throwing up a thumbs up as I made to log out. Whoa, kid. These guys are Marina staff, not scavs. What are you playing at? That's what I want to know, I said, irritated, and did a quick log out of the server. He didn't have the demons guarding the access points, so I was easily able to buzz back out and into the net. But I didn't stick around. I went straight back to my body. Gold Beach Marina. Super high-end place, has a bar and a cafe. And a bar, Hiromi offered as she looked at the laptop she had pulled up the marina's information from. Private club, can't get in unless you make more eddies than you could even try to waste. Why are the scavs going to a place like that? Maybe some high-end scav boss has a connection there? Could park his yacht right there and load it up. The security is crazy, but if he okays the scavs that come to make deliveries registering them as staff. Fuck, that would work. Ichi mentioned, looking infuriated. Does it? The cost for access to a place like that must be crazy. Even a scav wouldn't make money affording it. And it's just a yacht marina. A yacht can't transport that sort of stuff across the Pacific. So that means they have to stop somewhere else. Is a yacht like that big enough to even make a profit if you are shipping all the chrome out of the city on it? I asked, frowning. I get where Ichi was coming from, but when you are shipping something across an ocean, that's time and money. Boxes of chrome are certainly a good amount of eddies into their pocket. But enough to cover all the costs this would entail? A yacht, fuel, repairs, crew, payment to the scavs, equipment to the scavs. Something about this is fishy as fuck. Well, it is a marina now. Malcolm winced as Hiromi slugged him in the arm for the joke. At least we found them, Ichi offered with a shrug. Does any of the rest matter? We could go and loot up. You want to steal chrome from a high-security area owned by bajillionaires? I asked, frowning. I was expecting a boat and a hidden dock, like old smugglers. Not this. I didn't exactly want the sort of heat that people with fuck-off money could bring. Oh, I'm sure we could steal the stuff. I was fairly confident in my ability there, but stealing the stuff and not having someone track us down after? Just like we had done. It was totally possible someone could follow us the same way. No, we had to figure out a way of stealing this thing without a trace if we were going to do it. Okay. It's late, guys. We did it, we tracked down the scavs. But we aren't getting into the marina security from here, so take a break. Go to sleep. I'm going to go check out the marina tonight while it's late, I said. We needed information. I could collect it. Motoko stopped being a gonk. You've been net running and going non-stop for hours and hours. We all need a break. We can continue tomorrow. If you want to check the place when it's dark out, then tomorrow night will be good, Hiromi said, cutting me off to my surprise as she grabbed my shoulders and pushed me towards one of the couches. Wow, Hiromi. I'm fine. Go to sleep, Hiromi muttered, rubbing her eyes. In the end, Ichi and Malcolm passed out on the couch, while Hiromi took my net chair. I guess it was sleepover time. I rolled my eyes and just decided to go with it. Hiromi was right. No need to rush this. The next morning we all drove out to the marina to get a look at what we were facing. My Quadra and Ichi's truck stood out like a sore thumb when we pulled out into the marina from Corporation Street. But that was fine. We were just information gathering. Look at that ship, Malcolm muttered, staring at the big black yacht that was one of the few ships in the marina. The thing looked like a stealth ship from the old world, but considering where it was likely just a luxury yacht with a weird style. Do you think that's it? Ichi asked me and I shrugged. No way to know. They could be out on the seas right now. Or they could just be using a warehouse or something connected to the marina until a bigger ship comes by to pick it all up, right under the nose of customs. If that's even a thing here. I muttered, wondering what customs was even like in Night City. It was technically a city-state. Interesting but unimportant. Okay, so yeah, we aren't getting in there easily, Ichi muttered, looking across the small marina from the parking lot we were idling in. There was only one way into the marina, which had barricades, a security station, and guards. There were even cameras I could see all over the area. Yep. They weren't interested in having riffraff enter their marina. Can you net run into their stuff? You know, like take over the cameras, or cause an alert that all the guards run to the wrong area to take care of or something? Malcolm asked, and I had to snort, shaking my head. It doesn't really work like that. Considering the money in the place, I'd be shocked if they didn't have a netrunner keeping an eye on things. Which sucks, makes everything harder. I'll probably have to get into their security room to get anything, I said, looking at the small set of buildings in the marina, one of which had the computer I would need to access. So got the pictures you need? Yeah, I said with a smirk, already seeing the perfect way in. I'll need to do this at night, so we should get out of here. Break up until later. Want to get some food? I could eat, Malcolm said, hand raised and grinning. These fries are actually pretty good, I muttered, staring at my plate of steak fries in surprise. Yeah? What about them? Malcolm asked, looking like he was about to try and sneak one, since I didn't want to stab the gaunt for stealing. I gestured at the plate that he could try, and he did with a big smile. I don't know, they just taste good. I'm kinda surprised. PFFT. Picky. Motoko is picky, Ichi said, teasing, but I got a look of sympathy from Hiromi. Made sense. While her parents weren't the absolute high-level executives in Arasaka, they were still rich. So they ate better than normal people. Hiromi must have grown up eating better foods. I was just surprised these French fries actually tasted like French fries. They weren't. But they tasted close enough. No potato involved. We had gone to a diner once we left city center, and just crashed a booth. The four of us surrounded by food and just pigging out. It was nice. I still can't believe you became a netrunner so fast. I mean, Umaeda worked on it for a while and he was only like, okay at it, Malcolm said, changing the subject from food taste, and once again Ichi didn't look happy. Umaeda thought he was hot shit, but couldn't do anything. Ichi retorted coldly before stuffing some of his own fries in his face. Kinda mean, Ichi. He just didn't have much gear. You saw his deck. Other suitcase cyber deck. Yeah. I mentioned, frowning. My own knowledge let me know just how out of date that thing would have been. No wonder he couldn't break into the car's security on that gig so long ago. Wow, I hadn't thought about that night and my first kills in a long time. Well, I for one am perfectly happy with Motoko acting as our netrunner. And I don't want to split the payouts another way. So, Hiromi said as she stuck a piece of her pizza? Lasagna? I have no idea what it was, but she liked it. Into her mouth. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I'm just worried about him. If you are worried about your chew, Malcolm, go check on him. I mean, I'm glad I reached out to you guys. This stuff would be way harder without you covering my back. I'm glad I cleared the air, I said, earning smiles from Malcolm and a slow nod as he finished another bite of his own meal. Yeah, me too, Ichi said, smiling, seemingly ignoring Umaeda's existence. I do have a question, Toko. Do we want to hit the first place we found? I know we got the big one to focus on, but that place is just sitting there, Ichi said, purposefully not saying scav as we were in public. No reason to let anyone know what we were up to. I hummed at the idea. Positives and negatives. But I shook my head. As much as I hate the idea of leaving them to keep doing their thing, I don't want there to be any chance that someone realizes we are onto their higher-ups. While I knew everyone was unhappy with the decision, we all nodded to each other. In the end, there wasn't anything further we could do at the moment without the marina's cameras. So we all split up for the day. We would meet up tomorrow after I hopefully had the records we needed.